No, I choose people who don't want to be written about on the
Right.
whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery and they want to hide their secrets. And I just love the king has been far too lenient with him. And that it's not just now this sex case.
The internet barely had a moment to catch its breath when Tom Bower, the man tabloids hail as Britain's most feared biographer, returned with another explosive media drop. He didn't just set off a bomb, no, he detonated an entire minefield beneath two of the most controversial names orbiting the royal world.
That there are two truths. The first truth is that the conversation, I'm told and I believe, was very early on in their relationship when Harry is bowled over
Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew. It all began in classic Bower fashion. A single, seemingly unremarkable teaser, a clipped 32-second interview preview. No context, no headline. Just Tom Bower leaning back in his chair, fingers steepled, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. Sharp, calculated. That unmistakable glint in his eye meant one thing. He knew he was about to set the nation ablaze. And then he said it. One line. A line that ricocheted across the internet like a lightning strike. People would be shocked to learn how closely intertwined certain royal figures truly were, and who benefited. That was it. No names, no details, just enough to send newsrooms into full-blown panic mode and every royal watcher spiraling into investigative overdrive. Within minutes, the speculation engine roared to life. The hashtag started trending before the clip even ended, and in the eye of the storm, the two names flew around like burning coals: Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew.
Well, yes, it is a bad look, especially for Prince Andrew, because he has always denied having any sort of sexual contact with Epstein's girls.
Two figures who, on the surface, seemed worlds apart. But suddenly, in the chaos online, their stories collided like magnets caught in a violent storm. What did Bower mean? What secret link was he hinting at, and why now? Theories exploded everywhere. Some said a hidden rivalry was about to surface. Others whispered it involved royal finances, insider politics, or palace tensions long buried under decades of secrecy. But the theory that really ignited the frenzy was the one that suggested Bower was poised to expose a shadowy chapter of royal chaos involving both Meghan and Andrew, one the palace had buried deep under a mountain of silence. As the world screamed for answers, Bower offered none. And by sunrise, the hype had swallowed TikTok, X, and every royal gossip forum imaginable. Screenshots of the teaser had been reposted more than 5 million times. Reaction videos went viral. Late-night hosts in the US joined in, cracking jokes while fueling speculation. But inside the palace, nobody was laughing. According to sources, staff immediately slipped into emergency damage control mode. Meetings went tense. Communications briefings became urgent. Hushed corridor conversations turned frantic. Whenever Bower speaks, the world listens. A royal aide allegedly whispered that the palace braced itself for impact.
The world about his relationship, and there was no compulsion for him to do it. And that not only
Because just 2 hours after the clip went viral.
What no one predicted, however, was just how quickly the story would erupt into full-blown chaos. 2 hours after the clip went viral, Bower struck again, this time releasing an extended excerpt of his upcoming project during a live broadcast. Again, no names, but one sentence made royal reporters freeze mid-tweet. It is astonishing how events thought to be disconnected were, in truth, shaped by the same hand. Now, the internet wasn't just on fire, it was melting, and speculation was spinning completely out of control.
I was shocked at just how thin-skinned Harry is. You know, Meghan I almost understood. She's a Hollywood B-list to be charitable actress. She was a social climber. Her whole thing is about image, so I can see why she's so easy to upset.
Commentators dissected every word. Who was the same hand? Which events was he talking about? And why did the timing feel almost too perfect? The landing. Meghan was grappling with PR turbulence.
I do, and I think it has divided the nation and made us all, many of us, very unhappy on either side of the argument. I just found that Harry and Meghan, having said that they were setting up in California to spread wellness and love and sincerity, have done the exact opposite. They have dumped.
Prince Andrew was facing renewed media scrutiny. Critics of both instantly assumed the line targeted their respective subjects. Meanwhile, conspiracy theories and viral threads surged. Bauer's words were now being interpreted as a bombshell, linking both figures in ways the public had never imagined. The frenzy hit maximum velocity when insiders claimed Meghan's team was furious, scrambling to figure out exactly what Bauer intended to release. A PR source said her staff were contacting anyone who might know anything, panic in their voices. Meanwhile, Prince Andrew's camp had gone completely silent, a silence in the royal world that speaks volumes. The walls were shaking. Media outlets dove into archives, cross-referencing timelines, dragging up overlapping charity events, and unearthing old palace memos hinting at internal tension. Nothing concrete, nothing that truly matched the ominous tone of Bauer's clues. Then the first leak hit. A whistleblower inside a production studio claimed Bauer's new material would shock both American and British audiences and expose connections nobody realized existed. The leak spread like wildfire. Headlines exploded everywhere. Commentators spun theories. YouTubers churned out 20-minute breakdown videos dissecting every angle. In Montecito, sources said Meghan paced, phones ringing non-stop, lawyers and PR advisors on high alert. She felt targeted. An insider said she now believed Bauer was obsessed with her, and this only cemented the fear. Meanwhile, at Royal Lodge, Andrew's residence was reportedly grim. Staff whispered that he'd been warned. Old wounds the family thought were closed could reopen, and nobody, absolutely nobody, was prepared for what happened next. Bauer, watching the global hysteria unfold, finally broke his silence in a new online interview snippet. This time, he didn't speak in riddles. He leaned forward, eyes locked on the camera, and delivered the line that would send seismic shockwaves through the entire royal sphere. "This is the chapter the palace hoped I would never write." The world gasped, comment sections exploded, news anchors cut into programming. And suddenly, the question wasn't if Meghan and Prince Andrew were about to face a storm, it was how massive, how relentless, and which of them would be hit hardest. Whatever Bauer had uncovered, whatever he was preparing to expose, had both camps bracing for impact. And the palace knew one thing for certain: Tom Bauer never teases lightly. When he speaks, something big is coming. And this time, it wasn't just big, it was seismic, and two of the most controversial figures in modern royal history were standing directly in its path. Their worlds were about to collide in a way no one could ignore. The reaction to Tom Bauer's latest revelations
seemed to be a stereotype. I think that would now not occur.
Mm.
I think there were various things about her sexual life which I dropped out on the grounds of privacy laws.
was instant, electric, and impossible for the royal world to ignore. Within minutes of his interview hitting the airwaves, the internet erupted. Commentators refreshed their feeds in disbelief as clips spread across social platforms faster than anyone inside Windsor or Montecito could even prepare for. And yet, even as outrage exploded, something else was buzzing beneath the surface: fear. Not fear of criminal exposure. Bauer had accused no one, but fear of a needle he had touched that the monarchy had long tried to keep calm. His words weren't accusations, they were piercing interpretations, historical reframing delivered with the precision of a man who spent his career unraveling the mythologies of the powerful. Each sentence felt designed to ignite curiosity, push buttons, and hold a mirror up to the royal machine in ways that no palace aide could fully anticipate. And this time, two of the most polarizing figures in modern royal history were squarely in his crosshairs. Sources close to Buckingham Palace insist the institution wasn't blindsided. They knew Bauer's book was coming. They knew the press tour would be sharp. What they did not expect was how quickly the public would seize the most dramatic lines and make them explode across social platforms, fueling debate, outrage, and speculation almost instantaneously. What was meant as commentary on public behavior, media manipulation, and the gravitational pull of scandal mutated within hours into breathless online theories, think pieces, and endless debate videos. Meanwhile, inside Montecito, the calm quickly dissolved into chaos. Insiders whispered that Meghan was stunned, pacing, fuming, demanding to know how Bauer had accessed anecdotes she believed were tightly controlled or buried beneath legal walls. She reportedly called multiple lawyers and advisors, desperate to regain control, each call amplifying the tension inside the estate. Harry, by contrast, was reportedly devastated, caught between anger and exhaustion. Watching yet another wave of scrutiny crest toward their home, he knew this couldn't be stopped. It didn't make it hurt any less, one insider said. Across the Atlantic, Andrew's corner of the royal world was no calmer. Whispers of worry trickled through his staff, with some claiming the story could reopen wounds the family had long hoped were closed, adding layers of anxiety to already tense corridors. Although Bauer's commentary centered on reputation optics and lingering fallout from past decisions, rather than new wrongdoing, it was enough to reignite debates the institution had been trying to move past. Past staffers locked down palace communications. The usual no-comment posture was deployed within minutes, and yet, the damage was already done. Every headline, every social media clip, every viral debate added fuel to a fire that seemed impossible to contain. Royal experts began dissecting Bauer's claims with relentless precision. Live-stream panels lit up YouTube. Long-time commentators who rarely agreed suddenly spoke the same language. Bauer had struck a pressure point. Whether people loved Meghan, disliked Andrew, or simply felt exhausted by royal drama, it didn't matter. He had opened a new chapter of debate, fueled by the uncomfortable intersections of celebrity, monarchy, fame addiction, generational trauma, and public expectation. The world couldn't look away. As the frenzy reached fever pitch, subtle moves were quietly happening behind palace walls, deliberate, calculated. Sources described it as the tightening of ropes before a storm. Meetings were held. Communications teams reviewed scripts. Senior advisors examined timing, context, optics. Always the optics. Every gesture, every word planned, measured, designed to control perception while Bauer's narrative raged uncontrolled in the public eye. While Bauer's revelations were technically interpretation, the public reaction had become a beast of its own, and royal institutions, perhaps more than any in the world, understand that perception often matters more than fact. Speculation ignited a wildfire. Some argued Meghan would launch a fiery counter-narrative. Others predicted she would remain silent, letting allies defend her. Analysts debated endlessly about who might be affected next, and which palace corridors would feel the reverberations first. Still more wondered whether Andrew would retreat into deeper obscurity or quietly encourage palace intermediaries to control the blowback. Meanwhile, Bauer remained entirely unfazed. He doubled down, not with new claims, but with the same icy composure that has always defined his work. If certain people don't like the reflection they see, that's not my problem, he said calmly. The line was replayed thousands of times on TikTok within the hour. Then, something unexpected happened. A source inside Montecito claimed Meghan began drafting a personal response. Not a legal threat, not an official statement, but a carefully curated message to reclaim the narrative. She wanted to frame Bauer's commentary as obsession and bias, a decades-long pattern targeting women who challenged traditional power. She aimed to flip the scrutiny back onto him. Whether that strategy would work was another question entirely, but it demonstrated the mounting pressure on her team to act quickly. While her team debated messaging, something far more damaging bubbled online. Resurfaced clips, old footage, forgotten interviews, and half-remembered conversations tied directly into the themes Bauer had raised. Suddenly, everything Meghan and Andrew had ever said in public was being re-examined through a new lens. Video editors stitched montages, podcasters produced hour-long dissections, royal watch accounts racked up millions of views. Interpretation became theory, theory became narrative, narrative became viral, and then there was the palace's reaction, disciplined detachment. Not a word, not a whisper, no endorsement, no denial. The oldest play in the royal handbook, don't add oxygen to the fire. Yet with the inferno spreading, even this strategy felt uncertain. Behind the scenes, tension escalated between the Sussex camp and the palace. One advisor allegedly described the atmosphere as radioactive. Another said the monarchy had enough of being caught in crossfire. True or not, the effect was the same. Speculation spiraled, and through it all, Bauer remained smugly unbothered. An editor who spoke to him the day after the broadcast described him as calm, sipping tea, refusing to change a single word. He knows this storm, the editor said. He's lived through dozens. What people forget is he writes for the public record, not for royal approval. The institution has no power over him. Perhaps that was what frightened Meghan and Andrew most. Unlike tabloids, palace channels, or social media chatter, Bower's work lives on, in libraries, archives, and the cultural bloodstream. And now his commentary had caught fire. One thing was clear. The story was only beginning, and the world was watching every move, every whisper, every calculated step, and waiting for the next shockwave to drop. If you want more explosive royal updates like this, hit that like button, subscribe, share this video, and don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this conversation burning.